Do you look at yourself as running equally against Trump and Biden?
Yeah.
What would you say are the chief objections to both? If you were to say, since you're running against both, these are my objections to Trump, these are my objections to Biden.
Biden, I just don't think he is capable of governing the country. He can't do an unscripted conversation or encounter with a voter. Even the scripted ones are falling apart. So I don't think, I don't even know if there's a sort of a coherent governing philosophy that he has that I would object to. I just think that there's a competency question at this point, and that he needs to answer, which means he has to debate, which I don't think that they're capable of doing. With President Trump, my objection to him is that he had a chance. The biggest thing that I object to is the lockdowns. He locked down 3.3 million businesses in this country with no due process, with no just compensation, with no scientific citation. None of the processes of democracy, the things that you have to do to involve the public in momentous decisions like that, violated the Constitution. That shifted $4 trillion north in wealth. We created a billionaire a day during that 500-day, this new oligarchy of billionaires. That was a zero-sum wealth. It was just a shift in wealth upward from the beleaguered American middle class. And then there was a number of other decisions he made during that crisis moment of American history, when you really want a president who can stand up to his bureaucracy and to ask questions and to go into the weeds and to have, to stick by his instincts. He knew that hydroxychloroquine was going to work, and yet he got rolled by his bureaucrats again, and they ended up denying access to it.
By the way, I would tend to agree. As a Trump supporter, as you well know,
yeah,
I would say that the lockdowns are probably the best argument against, all what the 4 years that I would consider of a big success.
I would also say appointing John Bolton to the head of the NSA.
Totally agree. John Bolton should be deported from the country. So I'm not a warmonger, but I want to zero in. Would you at least acknowledge that Trump had flares of instincts that were correct? Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and he did leave it more to the states than I think people would probably recognize. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's true. But let me say something. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, my uncle was reluctant to invade Cuba, and there were 13 people on the ex-con committee, which is the little committee of like Dean Acheson, Bob McNamara, all the top dogs, the Joint Chiefs, who were all in on the huddle. They voted 8-6 for invasion, and my uncle said the Sixes have it. So all of his guys, senior CIA people, were all telling him, "You've got to go in." And my uncle said, "Okay, we're not going to do what you guys are telling me to do." So he was able to go deep into the issue and then stand up to his bureaucracy. And I think that was something that President Trump was not able to do. He had very, very good instincts, as you say. But I don't think he had the discipline to be able to actually sit down and do the research himself that would allow him to stand up to people who are the authorities.
What's your pitch to a Trump supporter watching this or listening to this right now?
I think President Trump had it right on the medical freedom issues. I think he had it right on the war issues in his rhetoric, but I don't think he executed well. And if you want a president who's actually going to dismantle the corrupt merger of state and corporate power, that's going to address problems with the Fed, the capture of that agency by...
You mean the Federal Reserve?
Yeah, by, big banks with a policy that is designed to strip the American middle class of equity and shift wealth upward. If you want a president who's going to actually address the problems at the CIA and who's going to reform that agency, which President Trump never even attempted to do. That agency now has been captured by the military contractors. I don't think that President Trump is capable of getting into the weeds to do the kind of reforms that you need to do and to stand up to the bureaucracies in the process. So that is the pitch that I'd make. If you want, the America back, the America I think we all envision, I don't think that he's going to give it back to you, and I will.